Celtics game.
Celtics game.
It's not true, that's not.
Did you see a football or a basketball player go flying by him? What is that? I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. If everybody could stand for the pledge. And after the pledge of allegiance, if you could remain standing for a moment. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
So if everybody could just remain standing for a minute. We're not meeting next week, so I'm going to take this opportunity to remember Stephen Arkell. 8 years ago on the 12th, Steve gave his life in honor of this town while serving it. Chief Ventura is going to do some type of ceremony on the 12th at the cemetery, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if we can just have a moment of silence. Thank you. So we do have some ACH payments. We made $198,683 to the Swayze and $498,219 to the co-op. John Morgan's attending remote today. If I can have a motion to...
Motion. Is this on the speaker or not?
Yep.
Second.
Okay, because John's remote, we're gonna have to do a roll call vote. I'm an aye, Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
You're in. Can you hear us, John? John, can you hear us? John, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Moot.
Mute?
Sorry, my internet connection was just a little unstable.
There you go.
Now I can hear you.
Where are you at today?
I'm in Sierra Leone. You guys hear me okay?
Can hear you
Yes.
perfect.
You get to read the checks today. Tell me when you guys are ready. John Bryant, $295. Two-way communication services, $100. Comcast is $358.89. Denson Construction Inc. is $200 even. E&J Auto Parts is $178.15. Eversource is $16.73. Frank's Repair Service is $1,785.75. Teresa Frank is $60 even. Heather Haggett is $197.48. Health Trust Inc. is $29,691.56. McPherson Firearms is $280. James Meeshout is $2,000. Heather Worski is $1,160.18. Suburban Propane is $329.46. Total notice is $268.98. Tri-State Generator is $200 even. UniFirst Corp is $61 even. Valak is $211.45. Verizon Wireless is $17.04. WM Corporate Services is $3,689.40. WB Mason is $172.82.
WM corporate is legal, right?
Waste disposal.
Oh, that's wasted. Total 41,273.89. So I was here early. These have already all been confirmed, but we can read them out if you want. I would suggest in the future that we think about putting the payroll under consent, since it's the same every meeting. But it is cross-checked already.
Eli Beam is $172.70. Matthew Bergeron is $596.32. Charles Fitzgerald is $138.52. Maria Folsom is $20.77. Michael O'Brien is $200.40. James Saltzman is $472.45. And most of the time, a lot of these checks are not the same because we have a lot of hourly employees.
The amounts might not be the same, but the people are the same.
Should be, well, yeah, unless we hire somebody new.
Do we have a total on that?
$1,601.16.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a nice tan on vacation.
It was peeling earlier, so now I look better.
Oh, they're not us, I'm sorry. I thought they were separated. My bad.
Ready?
Yeah.
Caden Blazik Ahern, $720.31. Jeffrey Collins is $811.31. Wayne Robinson is $1,056.84. Katie Copel is $103.40. Shayla Gherkin is $157.94. Mary Lyons Hall is $297.58. Janice Weirs is $838.28. Kiki Dennis Wall is $729.65. Joyce
up.
Keeble.
Hold up. The last one was,
Kiki Dennis Wall, $729.65.
okay, got it.
Joyce Keeble is $588.26. Joseph Bird is $1,110.43. John Bryant is $767.42. Evan Crafts is $457.88. Benjamin Roche is $624.29. Katrina Tennant is $873.72. Trevor Whitby is $739.19. Gabriel Burgess Levante is $110.82. Charles Campoloni is $145.45. Eli Corson is $184.70. Edwin Decatur is $630.15. Jason Grant is $542.70. John Isabel is $657.40. George Calloway is $96.50. Erica Kenyon is $542.89. William Kenyon is $220.65. Peter King is $68.69. Albert Kazaka is $441.42. Julie Levante is $1,796.89. Hannah Leonard is $120.05. Connor McComb is $90.04. Aaron Mitchell is $386.12. Nathan Richards is $1,226.26. Kip Kaiser is $834.31. Thomas S. is $129.29. William Dow is $152.38. Elizabeth F. is $152.38. Jason Gagnon is $490.94. Andrew Gray is $672.57. Karen Clements, $1,326.18. Heather Haggett is $370.08. Tamara Peak is $772.98. Daphne Wass is $843.96. Kendra Brackett is $581.29. Robert Gagnon is $362.28. Matthew Kelly is $1,158.73. Kevin Nealon is $1,092.98. Robert McCon is $159.89. Christopher Spitaleri is $1,119.58. John Ventura is $1,484.37. Jeremy Worcester is $215.63. And Jared Whiteboard is $843.26.
Total 29,900.31.
Combined total of $31,501.47. We had 15 hours of overtime at the PD, 5.5 at the fire department, and none at the highway department.
I thought you were doing this as part of
That can be part of the,
I thought that was part of the,
alright. So you don't have to read this, Joyce, anymore.
Thank you.
You have your
Oh,
stuff and we're all set.
yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Thanks, Joyce.
Thank you.
Have a good week,
Yeah,
or 2
you too.
weeks.
John.
Oh, does she need that?
Yeah, she needs that.
Joyce?
I think that was, that one's for Russ.
Great.
He has one.
He has
This
one?
is John's
That's
probably.
John's, yeah.
No rec checks?
oh, the rec checks.
Rec checks are right here, I'm sorry.
Yep. there is.
Rec checks.
Give us a couple weeks to get our act together.
Get used to that process.
Threw you off, huh, Andy?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Minutes?
Motion for the minutes?
I have a motion for Bob. Do I have a second?
Second.
I thought it was
Second
part of our
from
consent
Russ.
agenda.
Is that part of the consent?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what we decided last week.
I thought we decided minutes were gonna be in for the motion, but,
It's up to you guys, however.
I'm
you
fine doing the
want to do
motion,
it.
that's fine.
alright. Do we want it in or out, and do we need to do a motion on the consent agenda then?
It would just be reflected in the notes that you can do a motion to approve the consent agenda, yes, and just do that instead of the.
Yeah, so we'll do a
Motion
motion
to
to
consent
approve the
agenda.
consent agenda.
Okay.
Russ is a second.
Yep.
I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
All right.
Bob? Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
This is back.
5-0.
So does that include the
That's the
non-public and the public?
Yep,
Yes.
Okay.
and the treasurer's report in the mail
And building permits.
and building permits.
Do you want to do, what do you want to do next?
Want to do this should
Sure.
be quick.
Talk about the infrastructure bill funding. John, can you hear us? That's what you brought up last week? Or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's not a great connection, so I apologize. I don't want to be a distraction, so I can hear you.
Okay, you sound good, so we have good audio.
Okay.
So for the infrastructure bill funding to extend the water line down 125 is the primary focus. That funding is available through the Drinking Water State Recovery Fund. And that is the application process that is used in conjunction with ARPA funding. So those funds are only available primarily for contamination or to improve drinking water quality. So it's not allowed for growth or for development. There is another grant that will be opening up the fall of '22 with notice of awards given out early in '23, and that is a planning grant program. So you can apply for up to $50,000 in grant funding, and that's, I think, where more in line with what John was looking for, where you could apply for funds for a feasibility study to see about those, but the process is a lot longer. There's a third avenue that is Drinking Water Trust Fund, and those funds could be available made sooner. The only thing before you could apply for any of those funds is you'd have to make sure that Kingston and Epping were on board with creating that infrastructure that would be adjoining those two towns. To make sure that Epping is aware so that we're not taxing their.
You have to make sure that what is on board? I didn't know that was.
They wanted to make sure that we had those discussions with the towns of Kingston and Epping before we put that infrastructure down the
Kingston-
125 corridor.
Kingston, do they have water in Kingston or not?
They don't have water, so I think the conversation with Kingston would be if we're gonna extend it to here, do they wanna pick it up and keep going or just stop it at the border?
Okay.
So those are the three sources there.
Well, thank you very much for looking into that, and I would love to be able to share those insights with the Economic Development Committee tomorrow at this time. So if these minutes are, the draft minutes are ready, can I just request a copy of them by email, at least for this section of the discussion?
They are, and if they're not, then I have some Q&As and FAQs from the state. I can scan you those and I can just type up a brief summary of what I just explained now.
Oh, perfect. That would be absolutely perfect. Thank you.
John, do you know if Epping has an economic development committee?
I don't believe that they do, but I'm in touch with one of their, I don't know if he's a former or current selectman, but I can ask Bob and.
Yeah, because I didn't know if that would be part of the same plan, and then that way.
They have a lot of economic development already.
Yeah, well, but I'm
They
thinking
might not need a committee.
if they do have some type of plan, then it would be nice for the two groups to kind of get together when they approach Epping to see what they want to do, so.
Is there Epping town water down to the border?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way to the
Well,
border.
I think it goes as far as Burger King.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, because remember there was gonna be a hotel that was
so
looking to put
basically to the
in,
border.
I forgot what that property was, but there
That's
was.
the old Martin property, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a hotel that was looking to get in there, but Epping wouldn't bring the water in.
It's actually a minor league baseball team.
Yeah, they were gonna put fields
Fields.
and stuff out there, and
Training
I think it
facility.
was gonna be a micro hotel or something like that was looking to get in there, and they wouldn't get water, so they bypassed. Cool.
Late veterans tax credit?
So the deadline for, to apply for a veteran's tax credit is on April 15th of every year. This person applied for a credit and it was dropped off on April 21st, and I want to know if you will entertain accepting it late.
Did they give a reason why it was?
They didn't specify the reason, and I would be inclined to say no. I mean, the deadline is the deadline. It's not like it was it's not like the deadline was a Saturday and you're accepting it that following Monday.
What's the credit usually?
It's $600 annually, so he could apply for it next year.
I would agree, respect the deadline.
I didn't know if there was the reason why I asked if there was a reason given is
If we have a reason, then yeah.
if he was in the hospital or if there was a medical reason why he couldn't get it in.
Or if he was discharged or.
If it was just,
Yeah.
I forgot, then
But he didn't, when they dropped it off, they didn't give a reason at all.
I don't believe he did, right?
So he's always welcome to come before the board to ask too, so.
do you need a motion on that or inaction is inaction?
That's fine, I will just let him know.
We have some appointment slips. Conservation Commission, we'd like to appoint Matt Lipinski and Becky Dunn. Matt is for 1 year and Becky is for 3 years.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
We have an appointment slip for Recreation Commission for Julie Believes for 3 years.
Motion.
I have a motion by Bob,
Second.
second by Russ. I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Just don't forget to fill in that.
Okay.
You have 3 abatement applications for veteran credits. All reviewed and approved.
So these are 3 veterans credits that have been reviewed and approved.
Motion.
I have a
For all
motion
Second.
and a second. I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
And Karen, we had previously signed a few of these, so these are just ones that came in
Yes.
after that meeting.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could you explain what an abatement credit is, please?
Those are just regular veterans credits. We have 2 abatement applications separate.
So these were for the
$600.
$600 veteran credit
Right here.
against your taxes.
Carol.
Okay, so that's what you were talking about before, when these folks got it in on time?
Yes. Did you, that, statements?
16 Norfolk Drive, or just Norfolk Drive. You do have 2 abatements.
Now we have 2 regular abatements.
So this is for 3 Ponds Drive. So Jim has, the contract assessor has reviewed the application and recommends lowering the assessment from $426,800 to $419,400. And the basis of the application was due to a fireplace that she does not have in her home. So lowering the assessment based off of removing that.
Motion.
I have a motion by Bob. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Jen? I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
You can explain the second one. Well, I'll go down.
And this is an abatement for 2 Cadra Street from 13900 to 674. This is for a property that was dilapidated and then subsequently did a demolition permit to remove the building completely. So it's just to remove the building value off that property and tax them for land only.
Motion.
Second.
Ooh, tough.
Motion by Bob, second by Jen. I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
And the contract with WP Davis for the Mill Road Bridge project has been signed, all insurance certificates have been received, and the performance bonds have been posted. So Stevens Associates would recommend issuing the notice to proceed.
Motion?
Any discussion on that? So that's all, it's cleared all the regulatory hurdles? Okay. Second?
I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob? Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Do you need a signature for this one?
Yes, right here.
Bob, did you need to say anything about that, or are you good?
I'm good if you are, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I think we're good.
When do they plan on starting?
July 1.
What's that?
July 1? I was just curious.
July 1, but if the flows subsides, which they really haven't started to yet, we would entertain a request from them to start soon.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
If the Mill Road.
Michelle
Michelle Student, Mill Road. If the Mill Road development happens, is it wide? I mean, is that gonna have any impact on this new constructed?
We chose not to pave this year, but the bridge, we still need to redo that bridge. It was on the red list, so if we continue to let it go on too long, then it could be problematic. But the bridge is gonna be designed properly to hold up for what the intended use is. As far as paving, we've held off on the paving this year because we don't know what's going on with that development.
We're not building a new bridge, we're doing repairs, and would you call it like more culvert work, or how would you describe that?
I call it underpinning, so it's all foundational. It's not the surface treatment, and it's quite wise to delay the surface treatment until after, even after the development, if there is any, at that time.
Thank you.
Becky, do you want to come up and talk about regional associations?
Sure. I can hand out an updated memo, because there were a few things we talked about at our meeting that were recommended. So
I think we have some.
you have our
part of it.
results, but you don't have things about revisions or process.
And would you mind just giving a general overview, because
Sure.
Russ and Jen really aren't familiar with the,
Yeah, I anticipated that.
Thank you.
So, and I have copies for Bob, Michelle, and Laura, and Karen, who've all been a part of this process.
Becky, do you have one more for Tamara?
Sure, I do. Thanks to your copier.
Thank you. Thank you.
This committee was established in 2019, February of 2019, after discussion at the previous town meeting that we wrestled with deciding which charitable organizations should be funded. There were 3 that were grandfathered into the budget, and they were never reviewed for services, value to the town, and the others had to apply through the warrant. When the warrant language is presented at town meeting, it's 3 or 4 sentences of generic information, and there's not really a lot of data to go on to evaluate the service that they provide to the town residents. So the committee was established by the select board. They ungrandfathered the 3 organizations and set up a process. We had a public meeting where people were invited to speak up about how they felt this process should work. So that was all summarized. A process was developed for applications. We developed an application form based on models that other towns were using to evaluate applications. And the budget, there's a line item in the budget, and that money is assigned. We asked that applications be filled out totally by the organizations. We asked for some supportive materials, whether it's their IRS 990. They meet criteria for charitable organizations in New Hampshire. And then that information is processed. The committee meets in the winter. The deadline is October 30. We meet in the winter. This year, it kind of slipped to February because of COVID. We just couldn't find a date that people were all available for. So we meet, we review the summary of the application information. We look at the value they bring to residents in cash for services or the number of residents served. And then we make decisions on allocating the money that's in the budget. Each year we have received just under a dozen applications. This year we received 9 applications. 3 of the large organizations we usually fund did not apply this year for whatever reasons. New leadership, they didn't need the money, whatever, they forgot. So we decided to fund 9 out of the 6 out of the 9 that submitted applications, and that came to $12,790. So if you put in if we had considered applications from organizations we usually fund, we would have been at the typical $15,000, which is in the budget. We spent about 2 hours evaluating the information and making those decisions. So this is the 3rd year of this process. In the last week or so, I have looked at the websites of most towns in our SAU 16 region to see if we're comparable for the generosity, for the process, for how applications are submitted, and we're pretty much in compliance. There are little variables between towns depending on the size, but we're pretty much in line with what other towns are doing. So I think we're comfortable with the process. People speak up. We're not always unanimous about decisions, but we do our best. This year we asked, and you have approved, appointing an alternate because this year one person could not attend, and we feel we need an odd number to make decisions. So the alternate, Karen Vanat, has been asked to serve, and she's been approved. So you have in front of you the memo I submit to you when decisions are made, and we met on Tuesday, February 8, and it summarizes what we gave out in the organizations we support. We base a lot of our decision on what our welfare director, Sue Benoit, thinks are the priorities for this town as far as supporting residents in need, whether it's fuel, heat, food, transportation. We follow what she has always said has been the most important organizations to this town. So you've got my summary memo, but I also constructed this memo, wrote this memo this afternoon based on communication with the committee about some of the differences, some of the changes we are proposing for the next year. And if I can read it aloud, it will probably be easier than trying to paraphrase it. So when we met in February, in addition to deliberating on the applications for funding received for the 2022 budget year, the committee discussed minor refinements to the application form and process. The process is a result of the discussion at a public meeting in 2019 when this committee was established. This is the committee's 3rd year reviewing applications, and based on experience, we believe these recommendations will improve the work. The recommendations are as follows. For application form and process, and I've met with Karen on this as well after February, she and I got together. We want to highlight the October 30 application deadline on the form in bold print. This year, some applications arrived as late as November 15. The committee forgave late applications this year due to COVID and possible mail delivery issues which had been reported. There was no way to verify exactly. I checked every envelope, and some applications were submitted by hand, so there was no date to go by. So we want to make sure that that's emphasized. For those applications are to be date stamped when they arrive, as some packets were hand delivered with no postmark. We hope to have less uncertainty this year if we do so. In addition to the committee's recommendations, at my meeting with Karen in March, she suggested opening the application period after Labor Day. This year, one application was received in June, and that is before the organization's fiscal year was well underway and may not provide a clear picture of operations and needs. So we want to make it a concise period so it's easier to manage that. On the application form, we ask that a line for the previous year's total expenses be added. Currently, we ask for total budget and total revenue, but expenses can also be very different than budget. This addition would clarify the financial picture and make it easier for to process the applications. The application form we have been using for 3 years specifies that Brentwood will notify applicants of the decisions by April 15. There were no details on how the notification would be made. Based on our committee's discussion, we recommend a form email be sent by April 15, that's the same date in the application, to each RA noting the decision and requiring a letter from them requesting the check. Also, a form email to be sent to those not funded with the committee's decision. A copy of the form email sent and the letter requesting the check will be added to the file. It creates a paper trail. That's what all funders do. They want to know when you give out the money and how it's distributed. So we want to make that very clear. The second page of the memo is about company composition. When the committee was created in 2019, we were giving staggered terms of office. It was a 3-year term. So I request this year that the board reappoint Michelle Sadut and Laura Hajar to 3-year terms on the Regional Association Committee. Their experience and contributions to the work of the committee have been valuable. And we have learned a lot each year that we have done that about organizations in the area. So it's helpful to have that history. A few weeks ago, the board followed up on a request to appoint Karen Venat to the committee as an alternate. A thank you to the board for appointing Karen and a thank you to Karen for serving. Members of the committee believe our work fulfills the important role established by the board in 2019. All applications receive equal attention and discussion, thereby creating a level playing field. The information on the applications also provides a valuable historical record of requests from regional associations and the decisions made.
Can I just go back to the email for a
Yes.
minute, Becky?
Yes.
Who's gonna be responsible for sending the email, the committee or Karen?
Karen, the town. It will come on town letterhead. I will provide for Karen the list of what we have granted as well as the contact information, email and address and name of the person to be contacted for that organization. So it doesn't require work by her except the generic email, which I think is important. This year when I was starting to organize this, I asked our treasurer to give me the dates that the checks were cut. She couldn't find them all, so that made it unclear to me whether the money was actually taken or received. And one of the organizations that didn't apply, major one, when they sent us their record for their application of all the money from the different towns, it listed Brentwood as not supporting them for the last 2 years. We funded them for the last 2 years, so somewhere there was misinformation. So I want clarity. I want to understand the paper trail. Okay.
Then you did have some that were flushed with cash when you guys.
Oh,
were looking at it.
that was another thing. I don't know that I sent this to you when I did the cover memo. 9 regional associations applied for budget year '22. CASA, Austin House, Waypoint, and Red Cross did not submit applications. Last year, 21 requests totaled $25,197. This year, it was $4,000 less in requests. Most received CARES Act from the federal government. Many, if not all, had PPP or PPE loans forgiven. New Hampshire Gives was very successful the year. It broke a 2021 record for second consecutive year, and many of these associations received funding from New Hampshire Gives. There were revenue over expenses surpluses in 6 of the 9 associations. Major revenue over expenses for a couple of them. So that was part of the consideration. Who was flush with cash? It may change next year, but this is an annual thing that we deliberate. But this year, people were very flush. Organizations were very
What was
flush.
the average forgiveness on some of those?
One was $2,193,000, and their unrestricted assets are like $13 million. And they have investments that yield about $700,000 a
And
year.
what were they asking for?
$1,500.
But they had millions of dollars
Yeah.
in the coffers.
Yeah, and we take that seriously. We want to know that direct help is given to Brentwood residents. We always ask how many residents were helped with these funds. What are you going to do with these funds? We tend to support direct aid versus overhead. And that's typical of any foundation. Most foundations will not support overhead for a nonprofit. So we're looking for direct aid to residents. And I think those that report do a very good job.
And when you approve an application, do you always approve the dollar amount that they ask for, or does your
We have
committee
done-
modify?
We have over-approved a couple of years, and we have under-approved. It's amazing how some organizations ask for a very large sum. And when I look at how many residents in other towns were helped, and I want it to be equitable. You know, I don't want one town to be overfunded and another town to be shortchanged. So we take a lot of things into consideration. And Brentwood's a very generous town. When I think of what local residents do for their own individual charitable donations, and the things we do with the Peach Project, the NASH, the food pantries in town, all the things that we do, I think we have a pretty good reputation as a generous town.
Right, so I'm just gonna announce the charities that we're gonna fund this year.
Yeah?
Community Children's Fund for $1,000. Rockham Nutrition Meal on Wheels for $2,040. Richie McFarland Children's Center for $3,300. The Rockham Community Action for $5,700. And Task, which is a transportation aid of $750 for a total of $12,790.
The only one on this list we underfunded was Rockingham Community Action, which is now Southern New Hampshire Services. They've merged with something, they're twice as large as they were before. We eliminated $7 so we wouldn't have an odd number.
Keep it clean.
Keep it clean.
These
Keep it
should-
clean.
I don't think we need to approve these.
And any unspent funds just go back into the general fund.
Yeah, they stay in the general fund.
Sounds good.
Do you need
Thank
a
you for your hard
motion
work.
for the appointments, the reappoints?
We just need the appointment
We'll need
forms and then
appointment
we'll,
Oh, okay.
We didn't do appointment forms because they're a subcommittee.
So I'll make a motion for Michelle Student and Laura Hajar to be reappointed for 3 years to the Regional Association Committee.
Second.
Bob motioned, Jen seconded, I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ? Aye. John?
Hi.
And then anybody interested in serving can attend the meetings when they're
Right.
posted.
We post, there's a public posting on the website 24 hours or 48 hours before we meet, and anyone is welcome to attend those meetings.
And you said that's usually in the winter.
Yes, yes. It used to be later in the year that the applications were due, but that's when there were grandfathered organizations in the budget. Now it's October 15 for convenience. You want to give time during the holiday season for things to be processed. If there's any follow-up calls to organizations, or I've done a few emails to organizations asking for clarification. We want that window to do. So that's how we operate.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to
Appreciate
stay
it.
and help Dexter, or?
I will sit there and let Dexter
And you got
be the
two.
star.
Although, okay.
Laura Hasher, 33 Mohawk Lane. I just want to add that, Becky didn't mention this, but, yeah, we spend a good 2 hours going over that information. The reason we do it in 2 hours is because she puts together this unbelievable package. Like, she sorts through all the applications. She comes up with a grid. So although we have the backing data, we can look at it as we go through it. Literally, everything is laid out ahead of time. I don't know how many hours she spends, but really, it's effective because of the work she does. So I just wanted to let people know like how hard she works for this. So.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you. Michelle?
Michelle Student, Middle Road, that's pretty much what I also want to say. But not only does she organize what comes through in the application, but she does research too on the organizations themselves to give us feedback. So she does a phenomenal job, and she definitely should be recognized for that.
Thank you. Bob?
Thank you, Becky.
Well, I was just gonna piggyback on and say, as a former military person, when I go to these meetings, I feel like I'm a part of SEAL Team 6. So I've said it several times. She's awesome.
So just so I don't get my hand slapped, just name and road name.
Bob Stevens, 16 Norfolk Drive.
Thank you.
And I paid them before the meeting.
Money well spent.
I think the calls for a round of applause.
Dexter, it's a hard act to follow, but
And she left the table. She didn't want to.
Good evening. Dexter Swayze, 42 Old Gordon Road. And I'm here as president of the Brentwood Historical Society tonight. And I've come for 2 requests for 2 separate maintenance of town building funds. The first one is regarding the, if you remember, I was here maybe 2 weeks ago. We're putting in for a grant for the restoration of the Grange stage curtain. And we're in great condition because of the criteria of it being a town building, a piece of artwork and the moose plate criteria for that. So that puts us really kind of on a nice tier for getting this grant. The Linda Russo is in charge of that, and Laura Hajar is helping out with that. And we've already got the process going for that, for the submission. And we have the person, she's from Curtains Without Borders, she's out of Vermont, and she's done numerous of these stage curtain restorations, and so Linda was in contact with her, and we're in the process of, she's going to be the one that's going to be helping with writing the grant, because she's got all the specifics. But there's a small problem.
I was waiting for the
Potential
punchline.
problem.
It's called a hiccup.
I brought some pictures, a picture for you.
Yeah, I'll pass it down.
Oh,
Same one, the same picture.
So the plaster's coming up?
That's a picture of a hole in the plaster ceiling right above the curtain. It's been there for years. Okay? And the comments that the woman, Christine Hazel, let's call her Christine, I can't remember her last name. But one of her criteria here is, I need to know that you will have fixed that ceiling before we come down and done any major sanding and painting in the stage area. So really her criteria is, she's not gonna get that thing fixed if
This is falling down.
it's fallen down. Or to fix it.
You're gonna make a bunch of
and
dust.
You've got a major piece of artwork. As you can see, it's literally inches away from it. So, so I'm requesting, and I've called 4 different plasterers, Googled 4 plasterers near me. I got response from one, but I also contacted the plasterer that did the entry wall, Joe Falzone, when he put in the stair lift and the Gove Group, they plastered and painted the stairwell. I contacted that plasterer, and he has a big job in Rye that he says we cannot leave. So we can't compete with Rye for the little job here. But a plasterer, 2 of them never called me back, but I did get a call from Johnny B. Plastering. He's out of Sandown, and he says it's a small job, and he says, yeah, we can do it. And he called me back, and he says, yeah, anytime we have an opening, we'll give you a call. Well, he called me about a week later and said, can we do it tomorrow? And I said, no, I got to go to the Selectmen, I got to get funding, etc. and stuff. So he gave me a price, I sent him pictures, and he gave me a price of $800 for the repair for this. And Gary Jablonski, who did the plastering in the stairwell, said it was a good price. So I
That's a good price.
kind of got a good price.
It's a good price.
I'll make a motion.
And 2 did.
Second.
Oh, you, great.
I'm looking at
Good.
Oh, that was good. All right.
Dexter, can I just ask you a question? Does
Yeah.
is there any water issue or anything? It fully just fell down from.
No, well, that's coming up in the next
Oh, okay.
thing. There's
I
the
guess I'm just
reason.
wondering, like, if we spend $800 to patch this, we don't anticipate a recurrent issue that this is going to fall down again in a short term.
No, I don't. I
This
think
was more
it,
just age related and wear.
no, I believe it came down when there was work done putting in the wiring up in the
Oh,
attic.
I remember you saying
for-
that.
Yeah,
Okay, it was damage.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
So,
So would it be likely to recur after repair? Gotcha.
Most likely when they're walking up there, you got stress fractures, and then what happens is it starts to come down,
Sure.
plaster is brittle.
Yeah,
That's just how it works over time.
well, I can show you some pictures of why I think it happened and stuff.
Gotcha.
I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
All right,
Russ?
This is for the $800.
$800.
Oh, thank you.
John?
Aye.
Thank
You
you.
got $800.
All right,
I think
very
there's more
good.
though.
Yes, there's more.
There's more.
Wait, there's more.
Oh, there's
I
another
think
thing
there's
coming.
more.
It's like a Ronco.
So,
That was it.
but this all has to work around, because the curtain has to come down, has to go on the Grange floor. You know, it has to be between our open houses and stuff, so it's all the, you know, balancing of the acts and when Johnny B can come and stuff. So, the next one is a request for some electrical work over at the historical building. And again, and this was primarily because triggered by the fire department coming in and the necessity. Karen, would you like one? For the upstairs, there was the need for 3 illuminated exit signs. And if I can kind of explain, the Grange dining room, and if there's the picture of the Grange over there on the wall, where it says Grange, that's one on the lower left. The section that has the brown on the side there, the upper part is the dining room for the Grange, and the lower part is the Arlene Lightford room and a storage room. There are stairs coming down from the dining room down into the storage room. There needs to be a illuminated sign that comes down that tells people to go to the right. The other option was to put in a physical door, exit door with a push bar, not historically correct, and it was just not appropriate. So there needs to be one there, and then as they turn right, there needs to be another one that says, now you need to turn right to enter the Arlene Lightford room on the first floor. And when you're in the Arlene Lightford room, there needs to be another one because of the ceiling height and the wall coming down where the door is. Another one there that says, now you go into the main entrance of the museum. So there's a definite need of 3. They have to be put in. Per the fire department. So I had Monarch Electrical come out. They've done work prior at the Historical Society, and I was extremely impressed by Mr. Tibbetts, who came out and did the assessment. So we went through and told them what the fire department wanted to do, and kind of said, well, Mr. Tibbetts, now that I have you here, can you just kind of give me another idea? There might be some other things that we might need. That entire wing, I'll start with there, the entire wing where the dining room on the second floor and the Arlene Lightford room and the storage room downstairs, there's a total of 360, probably 1,000 square feet. There's a total of 1 outlet in that entire area. So, and they can bring, when they put in the illuminated lights, exit signs, there's the electricity, they can easily do that. So I'm kind of asking through the proposal here is also for some electrical outlets to be put in, and then there's also some motion lights to be put in also. He calls them closet ones. They automatically come on, they automatically go off and stuff. And I can kind of go over the proposal here from the electrical scope. The first one really deals with the exit signs. Those have to be done, okay? And that will increase the capacity of the Grange for having them from a fire standpoint. Number 2, part 2, the interior upgrades and improvements. The back halls, sides of the stage, on both sides of the stage there were pull lights, and I pulled one the other day to turn it on. It went on, but I pulled it about 84 times before it finally went off. So that would be one that would open, boom, it would automatically come on, boom, it would go off and stuff, so. That, and up in the attic space, same thing, when somebody opens the door, again, it will go on. And down in the basement was another one, it's an automatic one. And actually, there's a light bulb down there, it's a 60-watt bulb. It doesn't have very good reflection on the dirt floor and the stone walls. And actually, when I was walking down there, I'm too tall to be walking, I actually hit my head on the light bulb and broke it and stuff. And so he's gonna put a motion one down there also. So that's kind of a safety thing also for that. The next one was and that was $500. They replaced the stage front, 2 lights up there, 2 original lights that shine onto the stage and shine onto where the curtain is. That's $540. He would rewire those and it would be the original ones. But that's one you gotta hold off on that one, okay? Because I'll be back on that. The next one was the additional LED closet lights up in the attic space. Where's my picture here? Where'd my picture go? That's just one of about, there's probably about 7, and that's where the 160 light bulb is up in the attic, and the only window up there on the western side. Those boards were ripped up when they did the electrical work or the smoke detectors and stuff. And as you start going from the back of the building towards Crawley Falls Road, it gets darker and darker and darker. There's nothing in there, and there's holes like that throughout. So I'm walking through with my phone and camera, or I've taken a 100-foot extension cord all the way up there with utility light and stuff. So there needs to be lights up there because we are using that for storage in the future. We're going to be using for appropriate storage
How
up
old's the
there.
wiring in that building?
Pardon me?
How old is the wiring in that building?
Let me see, it was built in 1852.
Well, I'm wondering if it's
no.
knob and tube.
No.
So they replaced all the knob and tube?
There's some that has the, kind of like, I want to say, it's like a metal tubing
conduit, yeah.
around
It's
it.
just a protector.
Yeah, and he, Mr. Tibbetts kind of said that, to me, was that was okay and stuff, but all the other stuff, I believe, has been upgraded.
It's all circuit breakers and everything else?
Yes. Let me go on here. And also additional lights down in the basement space. Because as you come down the basement stairs, I can tell anybody who wants to go down there, you have to be careful because there is no last step. So, and you can't see it. So that, again, it just needs to be lit. There's only a 60-watt bulb. And the bulb is over there and the stairs are over there. So,
So Dexter, do you
Yeah.
need $5,910 or is there something less or more or?
well, for everything that's on here, the total would be $5,910. But the curtain, the lights for the curtain can be put into the grant. So they can be taken, that can be taken off, okay? So we
But you
can,
still need to approve that, right?
Right.
so,
So I'll make a motion, we approve up to $5,910. The Grange is usually very frugal when they come asking for stuff.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion?
Is there a historical society line item in the budget?
No.
This just
This
comes
is under
out of
building maintenance, right?
Yeah.
building maintenance?
Building maintenance.
Gotcha, okay.
And that building,
Needs maintenance.
it's.
I think he made a good case.
It's feeling its,
He made a good
it's
case.
feeling its oats.
I'm an aye. Jen?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably a dumb question, but you said you knew what happened
yes.
here, in terms of, that's the upstairs where there's gonna be more work being done?
No,
Above that area or no?
up in the attic there.
Electrical?
No, I'm sure that will be up and over,
Gotcha.
the wiring will be overhead. This is the, I'm pretty sure this is probably from the smoke detector
Gotcha.
guys and
So we
stuff.
don't anticipate high risk of damage from this job.
Pardon me?
We don't anticipate a high risk of damage from this job.
Which one?
This one that you're proposing.
electrical job.
The electrical job.
No, 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 no.
So we don't think this is gonna happen again?
No, 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 not up there in the Grange, no, no.
Great.
And the other ones will be, and the bringing down of, for the outlets will be like in the corner, the tubes will come down in the corner, so they won't be obtrusive to the historical aspect of the building and stuff, so.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. I was an aye, Jen's an aye, Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Karen, I'll be in to find out what I have to do and stuff. Thank you very much, I
You're welcome.
appreciate
And
it.
don't forget Saturday.
Yes.
The actual dedication, if you haven't been through the Historical Society ever, please go.
What time,
It's
Becky?
phenomenal. Dexter and Ken have done a fabulous job.
10:30?
It starts at
10:30.
10, dedication starts at 10:30, and come over and see the hole in the ceiling before it goes away.
Unless he calls you
I
tomorrow.
was there. Thank you.
Daphne, ready or?
She has public and non-public, so I don't know.
All right, we'll do her at the end. Discussion on the communication subcommittee?
So you had these 5 members that, stated that they wanted to be involved. When the committee was formed, I received a letter of, interest from Becky Dunham and from Letty Bedard. Andy and Janice also expressed that they would be interested in participating in the committee in some capacity as well. Andy Gray, the rec director, and Janice, the library director.
Oh, sorry. Yep, thank you.
As like a committee member or just like a volunteer? Did they
I
specify?
guess that depends sort of how you want to structure the subcommittee, right? So if it ends up being 5 or 7, right, I mean, employees will need to be involved to some degree.
Sure.
Yes.
So
So
that
we have
depends on whether
7
you want us to
interested
be voting
volunteers
or
at this
not
point.
voting.
Yes, we have 7 people
Sounds
plus
Like a good
2
start.
employees.
And me too.
Nice.
3 employees.
I'm inviting myself.
As you should.
10.
As you
You gotta have an odd number.
Yeah. Do we want
The employees wouldn't have,
voting?
no, I think
I don't think so.
yeah, I think it would be just the core 7, I think would be great. And then you can have the input from the other ones that can be advisory, I
I
guess.
think it's 7, right?
There were 7.
Yeah.
So do you want to stagger them so they're 1, 2, and 3 terms, or have everyone just do 1 year for now and see how it goes?
I would stagger them,
No.
no? No?
Will this be an ongoing committee or a task-oriented, one-time?
We don't know yet.
We're gonna kind of see how it goes, yeah.
So why don't we just do the 1 year and then
We
see
could
how
do
it
that.
goes and go from there?
Reevaluate next year?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'll make a motion for
But-
the 7 and then the 3 employees as advisory, how's that?
I like that. Do I have a second?
Yep, second. Should we read out the names?
Well, we'll do the establishment for 7 and 3 for 1 year.
Okay.
And then we'll nominate the 7 and 3.
Sounds good.
So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Right?
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Right, and then I make a motion, we appoint 7 citizens to the committee for a 1-year term. Stephanie, did we already appoint Stephanie or no?
I think we held off until this
Alright.
meeting.
Stephanie Luden, Bridget, is it?
Zacher.
Zacher, Danette Schlager, Josh Boutou,
Brutalin?
Boudlin,
Bertolin.
Stephen Dawson.
Dawson, we can do that.
Thank you, there was an easy one there. Rebecca Dunham and Letty Bedard.
Motion.
That was a motion.
Second.
Motion by me, second by Bob. Any discussion?
I have a question.
I'll get right back to it. I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Russ?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Question? Name and address.
Karen Bernard, Windsor, Maine. How did the townspeople become aware that there was this committee being formed and that you should apply?
It was discussed at last week's Selectmen's meeting?
2 weeks, 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago?
And it was posted on the
Is that
website.
sufficient to get the word out to,
Well, it was posted also, so.
Yeah, it was posted on the website, so.
yeah, okay.
And
They're
it-
only 1-year terms, so next year we can take
And-
another
Just
stab.
I'm just curious.
And it'll be public meetings anyway, so.
Yeah, it's all public.
Thank you. Michelle Student, Middle Road. I'm sorry, I was not at that meeting, but I'm just curious how did this come about?
So the communications committee came about through Jen.
And
Yeah.
Stephanie, actually, who had
Talked to
approached
you.
the board a year ago with a proposal, and then came back around.
So I think the idea was a more interesting ways of not just once a month of the newsletter getting information out, but getting information out on a short term,
Fixing our website.
fixing our website. I would love somebody to take over audio and video operations and, that way every committee can use it and have access to it. So there's a lot of things that the committee can do. So-
The goal was really just to kind of standardize, like, transparent communication of all the different committees and all the different parts of the town in a more like real-time way, because the newsletter is a once a month, and the website, Karen always says, like, all the pages look different. They're not searchable in the same way, so to kind of like modernize and update some ways that the different committees in town can communicate with townspeople. And I know Karen has a lot of ideas as well. I heard that you guys had a good meeting the other day about just some ideas of kind of standardizing things and branding some things, Brentwood
Long-term
branding.
visions.
And one of
Karen's
the-
got some vision.
And one of the other things that came up was the cost that we're paying right now for our website. John, who kind of has an interest in some of that, was kind of gasped at how much we're spending. So hopefully they can make it more efficient. So we're not spending the amount of money we're putting into it right now for stuff that people don't like.
Liz?
Liz, for yourself, so I'm sort of confused, that seems like a lot of stuff, audio, visual, the website, many other ways to communicate, different, so is there gonna be is the committee gonna come back to you and say, this is what we wanna see on the website, and then the select board decides that?
Yeah, it's just a recommendation, so it's kind of like the regional association committee. Basically, they review it, they make the recommendations, they come before us, they explain why they want to do certain things, and then ultimately, this board would be the one that would basically
And these will be
govern.
open meetings as well?
Yep.
Okay, it just seems like a lot to chew, I guess, when
I
you said
think,
the
I don't know,
audio-
were you here when Stephanie spoke the first time, Liz?
I wasn't here.
So Stephanie agrees that it could be like a lot, and that the website could be a lot, and could have, we'd have to approve, budgetary, allowances for a website redesign if we come to that point. So I think the idea was to start with some smaller, sort of more tangible projects. Like, for example, having a town Facebook page that is a no comment, no interaction, fully informational. Because right now we have 2 Facebook pages that are privately owned by community members, and just trying to like standardize that so the same information goes out. So Daphne can post the election results there, all of that type of stuff. So starting with some of that like smaller stuff, and then kind of just, I think, brainstorming what we think we can do, in 2022 to improve communication, learning from what other towns do, building on what we already have in place. And in fact, a lot of surrounding towns have communication committees kind of working on some similar things. So I think they were planning on kind of starting with some smaller concrete projects, because it could be, communication is a gigantic
Yeah.
topic. I don't think they're gonna try to tackle it all in year one. I think it's more just kind of getting some interested townspeople together to start talking about how we could improve things. I know with the last election, there were a lot of questions that came up about the warrant articles and the zoning ordinances and sort of what they really meant. And so we're thinking like, something like that would be a good sort of tangible, like, how do we communicate before election day what the ramifications are of planning board suggestions, things like that, just to make just really pure information sharing with people in town.
Becky?
Becky Dunn on Block Drive. I would hope that
you take into, the committee, we take into consideration the fact that a good number of people don't live and breathe by Facebook or
Sure.
the internet.
Oh, yeah,
That has to
absolutely.
be a key piece of how we communicate with the residents.
Yeah, absolutely.
And more of us are getting off of Facebook.
Yeah,
More and more people
right,
are dropping
that's-
off of Facebook. so
Ex-
yes.
Absolutely.
I think this is more to update than to
Yep, understand.
get rid of anything.
Yep, understand.
Michelle?
Michelle Student, Middle Road. So this idea of this committee was brought up 2 weeks ago, is that what you said?
It was actually brought forward last year, but that was before I was on the board, so I'm not sure what action was taken at that time.
Okay, so the discussion that happened 2 weeks ago, you already had a lineup of people that you wanted on the committee, is that?
Stephanie had recruited some volunteers who were interested that she brought forward, and Karen then posted looking for additional volunteers and interested parties before we created the committee.
I'm a little curious, in your selectmen's report in the Brentwood newsletter, why you wouldn't have mentioned that.
Well, I actually didn't know that we were gonna decide this tonight, so I defer to Karen, who posted it on the website and put a deadline to that. I was planning on potentially mentioning it in the next edition, so, but the chairman moved to panel the committee tonight.
Doesn't seem very transparent.
It was discussed about, and it's an open meeting, you're welcome to attend. We'll make sure that we notice it far enough out that anybody that wants to attend can attend.
Following on,
And I don't like the shot of transparency where it was on audio and videotape and discussed at a public meeting. There was no, talked about last meeting, how the 5 people came about. So there was no secret squirrel meetings under the rug, so.
I find it a little ironic that if it's a communication committee that no one from the Brentwood newsletter was asked to be a part of it. Why would that be?
I believe there was communication. Robin, did you and Stephanie have a conversation, I thought, about it?
She introduced herself, yes.
Yeah. I mean, clearly it's gonna, whatever communication plan happens in the town is by definition gonna involve the newsletter.
And isn't Becky Dunham part of the organization?
I fold.
All right.
one other thing was, because a lot of people didn't know about it, so there were only 5 members and a couple of people who happened to be at this meeting, a month ago or whatever. I think it was actually a month ago you brought it up, or maybe not quite a month, 3 or 4 weeks ago, before you went into your.
Anyways.
other week. Yeah, sorry. Could it maybe be held open for a possible, maybe 2 other people to join if, it should be obviously an uneven number, or is it the 7 set now?
I would be okay for,
Months and months.
if they present
Just on
a
that.
couple alternates when the next meeting comes to us, that, I have no problem with that. So,
If people are interested, I would definitely say, yeah, let us know.
Sure.
and just because you're not a member of the committee doesn't mean you can't go to the meetings and discuss thoughts and. Mr. Chamberlain?
Yeah, Dick Chamberlain, 15 Crawley Falls Road. I read last meeting's minutes describing this. There are a number of paragraphs that describe it, because obviously you spent quite a bit of time talking about it. And I thought it was great. I thought what I read was great. I had 2 or 3 questions. First of all, I wondered if what birthed it to any degree was the lack of civility that we've been living with, especially during the past year, and the need for trying to get on top of that and having more stuff out front. That was my first thought. I thought, what's under this? What has created the need for this? Was that it? The second thought was that it would be enormously important that in the priorities of doing it, that whatever is done be absent of people's own personal agendas. It's got to be upfront and not agenderized. And with the people that you're talking about, like yourself, Jen, and others that are involved, I think it's got a lot going for it that way.
Yeah, that's the intention, is just to be pure, transparent information sharing with everyone in town.
I would say one other thing too. I've been on the Police Facilities Committee for the last 3 years. And I was asked to be on it by Ellen, by Chief Ellen, mainly because I said to her that I felt that if anything was going to happen with that committee, then the public ought to be brought on board year by year by year. The townspeople need to be educated. And I think this is a great way of educating townspeople to what's going on. So I'm just very supportive of it.
Thank you. Becky?
Yeah, just a sidebar or a more detail. When the Regional Associations Committee was created, it was a discussion at town meeting, then there was a public session for people who were interested in finding out what was going to happen. And then after that, people were appointed to the committee. Just a note, because you had the open public session to discuss it, rather than bringing you had an open session where everyone was invited to discuss what the committee would do before the committee was formed. It just made it more open and transparent. Just my feedback on that.
Thank you.
Liz McConnell, Stevens Drive. Actually, I think, Rebecca, you and I were appointed to that committee
At the beginning.
initially, right?
Yeah,
So
and then
that
we had the
wasn't-
public session
that
and
wasn't
appointed
open.
others.
It was you and I that were appointed. Dick had something to do with it as the town.
And then at that first meeting.
All right, we're gonna move on. We got the people
Okay.
in the audience unhappy with our communications committee, but we're moving forward.
The whole goal is to improve communication. So let's give it a shot, see how it goes.
All right, we're gonna bring up Daphne next for tax deeds, I think, and then Chief Bird's gonna come in for some non-public stuff about personnel.
And we do have some non-public legal too.
Yes,
Daphne, she went to go get Daphne.
she went to get Daphne.
I can turn the Jeep on and just start letting horns go if you'd like. I can do it right from here.
I'm disappointed I missed it.
I'm sorry, we can get it going.
It's okay.
We'll get it before you leave. You go to non-public, I'll just go turn it on and start letting the horns go off.
Okay.
Daphne is public and then non-public. And then
Okay.
Chief Bird has non-public.
Perfect.
And he's waiting in Daphne's room.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to say a quick thing before I talk about my deeds, if you don't mind. So we had a very successful rabies clinic that was hosted by our Brentwood Fire Department on April 23rd. So I would like to sincerely thank Chief Bird, along with Jack Bryan, Trevor Whitby, Katarina Tennant, and her son Eric. They set up, they cleaned up, they were very kind. And then along with Katarina, my assistant clerk Heather Haggett and her mother Priscilla were a huge help filling out the rabies forms and greeting our occasionally frightened guests. Police Chief Ventura was kind enough to lend us Matt Kelly. Renee King, the animal control officer in Fremont, helped organize the clinic. She helped with advertising. And we were able to provide 64 cats and dogs with a rabies shot, 11 microchips. We registered over 20 Brentwood dogs. That's huge. Then the animal control officers, Maura Wentworth, Thomas Wilson, France Cone, and veterinarian Dr. Beth True Gibb were literally able to herd cats, and they were amazing. It was a very successful day, so I just wanted to thank them for that. And Tamara, I'll just give that to you.
I'm sorry I missed it, but
You want me to start over?
Florida was
Florida
was calling.
He's like, I wasn't listening to you.
I'm not that slow.
Sorry I zoned out, but
What did you say?
I was like, wow, you just admitted that.
I don't
Can you
admit
please
nothing.
take one and
I just woke up.
No, I was in Florida tanning myself, so. But my wife did come in and register the 4 dogs.
She did. She did. She was here.
So I'm legit.
You are legit this
Of
year.
course, she spoiled it and told her she can get a fifth and save $10. No, we're not getting it.
No. I know how tight you are with your money. I get it.
Do you want me to?
What's the matter?
He said, does John have a copy? And I said, yes, it's right here. And he's like, that's not helpful.
John, can you see that?
John, I'm texting you a copy of what we're discussing. Not sure if you can get it because you have no service, but you're still with us, so. Daff, the floor's all yours.
Okay. So
You can, I was talking the whole time.
my voice changed, that's weird. So I'm here to discuss I have a tax deed coming up, or scheduled for May 19th. There are, there are 9 properties that we could possibly tax deed if you wanted to, if you choose not to. I do have tax deed waivers for you to sign. It does not mean that we could not deed them at some other point. We would just start the process over for them. I will tell you that on your sheets, you can see the one in pink has a payment plan and has been staying on top of it. No issues there.
Can we just go to the list for a second?
Yep.
L&B, land and building, right?
L&B is land and building.
B&O.
B&O is building and, I have no idea.
Other?
Other.
Hmm?
This is just a
Land
building.
only
This is
or
land.
building only.
Oh,
Okay.
building only.
Land and building.
Thank you.
Yep. So the first column where it's showing money, it's a 2020 tax lien. So those are 2019 taxes that haven't been paid. And that's the amount that's owed on that tax lien right now. The next column is how much that land owes for everything to date. These numbers are also good until May 19th. So that interest is showing until the 19th. And the last column is showing when the last tax payments were made on those properties.
And Daphne, this is just for 2019 taxes, so.
That's what's up for deed this year.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
And what about the ones all in yellow?
The ones in yellow are they happen to be the same owner.
Okay.
Owns all 3 of those properties. Historically, they have paid right before the tax deed, historically.
And if we sign a waiver, is it 12 months? What's the time period, or it's not set?
There's no time
set.
period. You could decide what we have done in the past is you've brought people in to discuss their issues or non-issues or whatever. And at any point, you could decide, they don't have a payment plan or choose not to go forward with their payment plan. We could deed. We would have to start from the beginning, meaning letters 45 days out and move forward. You could deed at any time though.
So just a non-binding temporary waiver to give us some time up against that date.
Exactly.
But they still have recurring interest and everything else, which
They
is
would
set by the
continue
state, right?
it's
Was
18%.
18% is this year?
Oh, actually, this year is 14%.
14% this year?
Yep, this is when it started, 14%.
And what about the ones that still had 2019? What was the interest rate then?
So 2019 was the 18%, and then the 2019 tax lien was 18%.
In 2020?
It's 14.
And now what was 21?
14.
Right.
The tax lien interest rate as well as the regular interest rate. So it used to be a 12% if you didn't pay your tax bill on time, and then it went down to 8%. Same thing, tax liens went from 18 to 14.
And Daphne, have any of these folks approached the town about a payment plan other than the one that you've highlighted here?
No.
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 So like Daphne was saying historically, everybody pays just
Yep.
before the tax
Right,
lien.
most of these were
Not
paid.
everybody.
Well,
The
most of
ones in
these.
yellow.
Yep.
The ones in yellow she pays.
Looks like
right
there was a
beforehand.
payment on 5/11 of last year, and your
Yep.
tax deed was probably shortly thereafter.
Yep. So if you did want to sign the deed waivers, I have them here. I also have a copy of a statement of their taxes as well as their tax bill. Their latest tax bill, so you can see the assessment on the properties.
I think we should wait till at least after 5/19, and then historically, we've
Yeah.
summons them to come talk to us.
But 5/19 is the day of tax deed.
But we can
So
do
do
it
you want
anytime
them
after
like,
that, right?
yep, do you want them to come in that Tuesday beforehand?
When do we have our next
Yeah, I
meeting?
was just gonna-
The 17th.
17th?
Probably.
Yeah, we probably have to.
17th.
Yeah, 17th, but do we have to do non-public for that?
Yes.
And would we exempt the person
Who's
who's
on the
already on a
plan?
payment plan?
Yeah, they're up currently on payment,
So
so.
just exempt them
Yeah.
from coming. So the 8, well, actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 owners.
Yep. So on 5/17.
Can I have quiet in the audience, please?
So 5/17, we'll invite them to come in for the non-public probably around 6.
Can I have quiet in the audience, please?
I have
6:30?
Chief Ventura on the agenda already for that evening, but his shouldn't take too long.
We had a discussion last meeting about potentially thinking about in the future moving non-public to the beginning of the meeting. Chief Ventura had suggested that some towns have done that. It works a lot better for people like the chiefs who come. We could think about something like that if we have a lot of people coming who
Yeah,
don't
'cause
have to
that's
wait till 8, o'clock at night or something. We could just think about how we wanted to do that. We could post the meeting to start later than 6 if we needed to. Just an idea.
Well, you'd have to post a meeting to start on time, but just that non-public would start first.
Sure.
We can do that. I mean, that's probably gonna be a long discussion for some.
I don't think making these 6 people wait,
Yeah.
is kind.
And it's the legal,
Would be under reputation because
Negotiation.
they'd be speaking about their personal
so
finances.
the question in the audience is that it's public information, but under their reputation of why they're having financial hardships is the non-public portion of what would be discussed. I'll get to you in a second, lady.
And then if that was the 17th and the deed is the 19th, we'd have to make a final decision on waivers that night after our discussion with
Yeah,
them.
you could sign your waivers that night or,
Or decline to.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
sounds like a plan.
that's all I had. What do you think?
So send out the notices, I guess, for them to be here for 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. I'm up early.
You will be here alone.
I will be here alone. I don't have the code.
Will Heather or Joyce be able to work Tuesday night, so that you can be in here from 6 to 7?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll ask them, but yeah.
And if they aren't able to make it, would we give them a waiver until they can come to a meeting? Or
That's something we'd have to
we
discuss.
can discuss that night? Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it depends on the reasoning for why
Sure.
they can't come.
Yep.
It's just a no.
I would assume the town taking your property is a good,
A good reason.
to adjust your schedule.
I would think so, yep.
You can stay there, Daph, because,
Yeah, no, back at 2.
Letty,
I just, in the past, those
Letty?
conversations. Hi, my name is Letty Bedard. I live at 198 Middle Road. I am speaking on behalf of myself and no board that I happen to be on. In the past, those discussions have happened in public sessions because I've heard them before, so I just wanted to say that.
Robin?
Robin Wright in Middle Road. What is the total outstanding taxes owed for 2019?
It is.
Anybody got a calculator?
Oh, man, I didn't add it up.
Ready, Bob?
Hold on a second. Get this thing open here. I'm losing my mind. All right, ready, go.
Just the
1570.58.
Actually, isn't it this?
Oh, you're doing the,
That's to date, this is just 2019.
oh, you just want me to add up all
That's
those?
the interest,
Yeah,
right?
just the ones in the middle.
The ones in the middle?
The ones in the middle that say 2020 tax lien,
Okay.
just those numbers.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You were right, Andy.
Oh, that's not the middle. That's,
Plus,
Don't they owe the second column though?
I think
But we
that's the
can't
total
deed for
amount of
that.
2019, 2020, and
Yeah, we can't deed for that.
Gotcha. Oh, I thought that was just with the interest.
no, that's what they haven't.
Is the total owed property to date, does that include 2020 and 2021 taxes?
Yes.
It does, okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
thank you.
$46,447.97.
Say it again, 4,697.
46447.97.
When was the last time the town took the property in deed?
2 years ago?
2019.
Yep.
Years ago? Okay, and,
And that one was significantly past due.
yeah, I remember that. It was in public at the time, because I remember going to that meeting. And are these properties then advertised for sale?
We don't have any properties that I remember taking that, the one we have now, we still have to talk about in non-public when everybody leaves, so. But traditionally, the town can only recoup the money owed on taxes, and then the rest, if sold, would go to, either the estate or the trust or the person. So we would have to sell it on the open market.
Right.
To get
But
fair-
The town of Brentwood hasn't gone that far with this?
Not yet.
Good to know, thank you.
All right, we're gonna go in non-public shortly to talk with Daphne, and then
Do you want to talk to
Chief
Joe
Burke.
first?
it's up to you.
It's okay, you can talk first.
Russ, do you have anything that you wanna talk about before then?
Well, I guess I would just say that, I know you're not gonna like me for this, but, on the communications committee issue, that I think that it feels like to me that there's an underlying, tension about it, and, I would just say that I don't actually think the newsletter is really related to the effort so much as hopefully the newsletter, Robin, Michelle, whoever, you can have share information or whatever you want to do with the committee folks. I know that was mentioned 2 weeks ago, but in my view, ultimately, this is about, like, as a resident, I have always felt that the, starting with the website, that it's not a terribly great setup for getting information. And so, into other points that were made, there's a lot of stuff that got brought up right out of the gate, and then the newsletter was thrown in there as the newsletter is once a month. It's really not related to that. The newsletter, of course, is going to do what the newsletter does, and there will be some information that's the same and all that, but they're uniquely different, and that's not where it comes from. It comes from this. I know what I was looking forward to when I voted to go forward with it, which is, let's just get from basically what feels like 1995 to maybe somewhere in the 2000s, or better. Well, it'll be better, much better. My day-to-day work is in communications, and that covers everything, including social media stuff and all that. I know we can do better. I also have reservations. I'm sure people on the committee and people who will go and sit and talk about it will as well. We know social media is far from perfect. We know Facebook is far from perfect and all that. But I just wanted to say I feel, I could be wrong, I don't think I am, there's underlying tension about it, that maybe there's some ulterior thing going on there. That is not at all how I say it. I think there's way too many basic communication improvements that need to be made. And a year should be able to figure out what those are and whether they can be addressed in a year and that's that, or whether more needs to be done. And by all means, if somebody feels like their voice isn't being heard, communications, we know, and to Dick's point, I do think it can help overall with people not understanding things and then making assumptions and getting upset, and then we're in the middle of an argument and we're not even working off the same piece of information. So I think all that can be to the good. So I just wanted to put that on there.
And I would agree, I think it should just be, I'm hoping it's just gonna be the facts, you know.
Yeah.
There was some movie that was like, just the facts, man, what was that?
Friday.
Joe Friday?
Joe Friday.
Just the facts. I just wanna know what the facts are, like, so, when we were talking about the planning board, like, some of those warrant articles that came up,
People didn't know
I
what they
didn't even
meant.
know what some of them were, I had to go digging into it, so, and we were asking what they were. So I think if we have something that just basically says, this is what this is what that warrant is, and this is why they came up with it, boom, here's a bullet. And then now, we got that communication out there, and then if we have it centralized too onto the website, which is all different, like the police department has one, the fire department has one. Everyone's got different ones, so the planning board's got their thing, town's got their thing. I don't think I have anything for health officer. I don't know,
That's
I
what
reach
you
out to
declined your
Karen and say,
dollar.
help me, I only got a
Have a
buck for a dollar and I never take it, so, and I cut it by 50% this year. So, I would agree that there's avenues for correcting communication,
Did you have anything else?
that's it.
Jen?
There was a Brentwood School Board meeting last night that I went to, and just for situational awareness, the school board has some excess revenue this year because of various grants and funds and federal funds. And the board elected to encumber $150,000 to pave the Swayze parking lot. So that is going to get encumbered out of that excess funds, but even with that encumbered for the project, the amount of money returned to taxpayers is gonna be the largest amount, I think, in 5 years or more to the town. So that was a good, good
Now that's
financial.
communication.
Right? There you go. So I think that's important for people to know. I mean, we know that that's a big expense in our town, and so there is gonna be money coming back in the tune of $300,000+. And so, that's my report.
Do you know what the student population is right now?
Not off the top of my head. Letty might. No?
Yeah, I know that's
I knew it, when my son was in there, now he's graduating
It
college,
goes up,
so he's
down, up,
22, it was at 425, so I'm curious
No,
what
it's
it
much
is.
lower than that now.
It's 303.
303. Yep.
Russ?
So, we had a ZBA meeting, I just didn't know what the protocol was, and if you want blow by blow, or what is it, you know, that's
Basically,
helpful.
over 30,000.
Do you want us to first talk about the changing you to a alternate, or do you wanna?
Well, there was some,
Bye, Deb.
Send the chief down.
there was mentioned by, you know, when we were in training for the NHMA, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so during the training that we had with the New Hampshire Municipal Association, I saw a you know, statement by them that said they discourage members of the select board being voting members of the ZBA because of potential conflicts of interest. So it's not that they're saying you can't, they're saying they discourage it because of that. And the potential of something that the ZBA ends up ruling on ending up in front of the select board. So as you had mentioned, I brought that up during the discussion, and nobody had an issue with it. There was an issue in the past with a member of the planning board who had been on the ZBA. They corrected that, but there seemed to be no issue with that, and they felt that there was a very small chance that there was something from the ZBA that was going to happen. Now, I don't personally have a strong opinion on it, right? As you know, I mean, but I'm happy to serve. There seems to be no issue from the ZBA members. So we just proceeded with our meeting. There was one topic of discussion. Great Bay Investments LLC wanted to basically, there was this issue of trying to get to their property off of Shannon's Way. They have access from there, but the Shannon's Way folks had said, we'd rather you not build back there and then, you know, have more traffic and all that. So that was a while ago. So they've come back, this Jeff Hirsch, I guess is the owner of this property, and he had a presentation by Jones and Beach Engineers, where there's frontage on 125 next to Tractor Supply. And it would be another, I shouldn't say another, it would be a RV sales operation. And they would build a road, like probably a dirt road, but nonetheless, that would go back of that lot into the connecting lot, but a different lot that they own, that's behind Shannon's Way. And they would store campers back there. And when they sold one, or if they brought someone back there to show it, or they bring it forward, but it'd be storage only. So the issue is that it's, that lot is zoned, the back lot, okay, is zoned for professional office, multi-family. So ultimately, the ZBA, we voted to not approve because of that. It would have been essentially a rezoning issue, so. So they're gonna go back to the drawing board, I guess, and think of some other options, but.
Thank you.
Okay.
Becky?
Yeah, just back to communications for a moment. Now that the committee's in place and there are going to be public meetings, when are those going to be set up, or how's that going to be, people are going to be informed? What's the time frame on starting that?
We'll make sure the first meeting is after the next issue of the Brentwood newsletter,
Okay.
so that it can get posted.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. 9 a.m.
Janice?
Yeah, Janice, we are speaking for the library. I want to sort of address, there seems to be discomfort as to which staff members were chosen. And so I just want to say that the reason that the library would like to be involved is because our main, or one of our important roles as a library is to be communicative, right? Communication is such a big part of what we do. So it seemed like a very natural fit. There is no agenda. I just want to be involved in it as a way to make sure that we're doing the same kind of communication as the town, or something similar to it, and so that we're all sort of being cohesive, as a cohesive unit. So, and I welcome, if anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to me personally, that would be great.
Good to see you back, Janice.
Thank you.
Robin?
So Bob brought up tonight about warrant articles and planning board amendments that they put up, that they want to put out. Last week, Stephanie brought up people aren't able to find recycling dates, meeting minutes, or meeting times and dates, or department head contacts. And I'd just like to point out that they're always in a consistent place in the Brentwood newsletter. The Brentwood newsletter has a website with all the archive, all the way back to 1977. In the past, the Brentwood newsletter had a link on the town website where a lot of people went to it for exactly that quick find. Meeting dates and trash pickup are all, these things are standard and they're always in the same place, so it's not like you have to dig. But I would like to request that the board consider putting the Brentwood newsletter back on the town website for quick access.
Okay.
Thank you.
Letty?
Letty Bedard, Middle Road, speaking as myself and not on behalf of any board that I'm on. Sorry, it's just easier to get out of the way. I had somebody ask me if the school gets the benefit of the solar panels over by the fire station. I said, nope, that's just for the fire station. And I was wondering if the town had ever considered putting solar panels somewhere else in town to also offset the electric use in other town buildings, just to lower the tax burden in other ways.
So the current panels backfeed the power grid. So we do get credits for the usage of all the town buildings.
But not the school, I don't think.
I don't think it creates enough power for the school.
Right.
Just the municipal.
But I know
buildings.
we had enough
The reason-
revenue that, I know I provided my electric bill to Karen, and I think you got a couple other people too, right? Because we had generated so much that in order to get the benefit from it, she needed to get other people's tax or electrical bills in order to offset, so we got enough of our credit back.
Yes, and the reason that the school wasn't included is because the system that we have in place is up to, it's 100 AC, I believe, and that is the max that you could put on under the permit that we applied for. So it would have been a whole different application process and permitting system if we were to include other buildings as well. But all of the municipal buildings are included in our net metering package.
So all I was saying is I was suggesting that maybe town might consider, like, could you put a big array on where the dump is? Because you're not gonna build anything there, it's just.
Oh. Well, we're maxed out, so the school would have to put an array into,
We can't get any more credits.
So, okay, so this,
Oh, the town is fully maxed out on what we can do under current regulations?
Yeah, we
Under
have-
our current
we have our
regulations.
current.
we don't have any space on the property where the school is to do that, since the school is owned by the town.
What about the roof, no?
It's not strong enough.
Net metering changed, I think, this year, guys. So I think that we can,
Look into
it
it.
went from 1 megawatt to 5 megawatts, I believe.
so yes, I guess that's something we can look at.
Okay,
It's a great idea if we, that school uses a lot of electricity.
sure
Now,
does.
in fairness to the town though, the school.
Liz, can you wait to be called upon,
Yes,
please?
sir.
Thank you.
So.
Name and address?
Liz Maria Suffolk. In fairness to the town, I think the school said at the time they didn't want to be part of the great work that the town was doing for the solar panels. There was-
Because I think we had a solar committee, right?
It was-
Yeah. But that was 7 years ago and
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was a while ago. Yeah,
7 years ago,
Good
four
idea.
score.
One other question I had, Andy, this is still public comment, is I was surprised by the abatement for the 3 ponds, because I recently, a couple months ago, just went there to one of their open houses that they have, and they were selling the base models at $5.99 without.
so the reason for the abatement was on their tax, they were listed that they had a fireplace and they did not have a fireplace. So we had to credit them for,
But did they get the same revaluation that everybody else got in the 5-year revaluation? or no?
well, they're brand new, so they were never reevaluated
Okay.
yet, so.
So they kind of lucked out because they're not 426, they're not 5, they're not even 5. They were $4.99 with no upgrades whatsoever. I was amazed.
Any comment on this side of the room? If not, I'm gonna take a motion to go into non-public for
Legal and hiring.
legal, personnel,
And hiring.
and hiring. Motion. I have a motion by Bob, second by Jen. All in favor, I'm an aye. Jen?
Aye.
Bob?
All right.
Russ? Aye. John?